Autistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. This is obviously part 2 of the Frosted Mansion, the build that I literally have had sitting just in the depths of my computer for a very, very long time now, and I kept attempting to get it out there and get it out onto the channel and out into the world, and somehow it just kept not making it all the way. But anyway, you already know that if you watched part 1. You also know, since it was such a long time ago, refreshing myself on this build has been a bit of a struggle, trying to remember everything of why I did different things and stuff. And just as a recap, my main thing was, I was mainly thinking about my sim Glaceon, based off of obviously the evolution from Pokemon. Mainly thinking about her in terms of my sim. Obviously she is very much into like the cooler tones, the cooler, so like, you know, whites, light blues, very, very light blues, going with that more crystally, snowy, ice color theme going on with that. But also in terms of my sim, she's definitely a interesting sim. She tends to she really cares about her outward appearance and how she appears to others. She also likes attention from the men around her. She does like that attention, but she definitely wants, she really doesn't only want the appearance of wealth, she actually does want wealth. Which doesn't necessarily come easy, but she does definitely, even if it was a small house, she would try to make it seem extravagant and like she just had all this money. But I also just sort of randomly made up another sim in my head that really, I have no idea who Glaceon is ever gonna end up with in my, like, little playthrough that, or like, well, like my save, my little world that I play in. I don't really know who she's gonna end up with, so I just sort of made up a thing, because with some of the other ones, I sort of had an idea who I was hoping they would end up with, or who I thought they were going to end up with, or who I knew they were going to end up with. But with Glaceon, I don't at all. I don't even have an inkling. So I made up that it's an archaeologist guy, so every once in a while, not only does like the gold plates that come from Jungle Adventure, I know I put them in a few places. Not only do those give the appearance of wealth, because, you know, the whole, it's gold, it's an ancient artifact that has been found, but also makes sense with the whole archaeologist thing that I was sort of using off. Right now we're still in the upstairs section. If you forgot from part 2, it's sort of an interesting layout, because the doors to walk into, you actually have to walk up steps to go into the front door, which, I mean, it's not too weird, but it's like pretty big size steps. And the bottom floor, that's technically the ground floor, is not the floor that you mainly enter in. The middle section, the second floor, is where the entrance is to the house. This is the third and top floor, which is basically nothing but the master quarters, in a way. That is the best way to describe it. It is literally only meant for the main sim or sims in the house, so if you download this for yourself, whoever your main sim is, or the couple or whatever, this is where they are going to be staying. So it's got like a walk-in closet, it's got a bathroom, it's got like a little sauna, spa feel area that is also up there. It's got obviously the bedroom, and the bedroom it's got like a little TV area to sit in. They can sit and chat with each other. It's got like these computer desks, so they can even work on their computer, whatever they need to do on the computer, together as well if they want, or not. You know, they could just simply go in 2 totally different pieces of the house if they wanted to. Now, we should be getting to the second floor, which is going to have more of the, like, areas for anyone who's over, like, a lot of people, like guests and things like that. So, like, the living rooms, the kitchen, and things like that are on this, like, main floor. And with, like, when it comes to, like, fancier houses and like mansions and big houses, I tend to try to seating areas pretty much everywhere. Partially because in my mind, like from what I've seen, a lot of times there is a lot of seating areas, and I don't I can't figure out if it is because they do know that they're gonna have a lot of guests over, because they have a lot of, like, friends, because, you know, they're a little bit more on the famous side, the richer side, wealthy, whatever. So, you know, they go to a lot of these special events and make a lot of friends, so they're gonna invite a lot of friends over and have, like, a lot of entertainment, or if it's just strictly to fill up space in the house and make it look like, you know, you always have somewhere for people to sit if you have a big party. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But, you know, it's just, I associate a lot of seating with big houses, so you will see a lot of seating areas, some meant to be more used than others. This one obviously has this big, like, little movie theater section TV. I'm using these paintings that I use all the time, actually, because I like the fact that there's, like, sets of colors with 4 different patterns, but they, like, go together all at the same time. And, you know. Now, one thing I do remember is actually, like, in this, like, main area where, like, the main doorways are in, that's, like, the living room area, because the fact that the stairway is, like, in the middle there, I do remember actually slightly struggling with this, because I wasn't quite sure what all to put in this living room section, like, where to put what. Should I go, like, have, like, every entertainment thing, or should I, like, put some entertainment things in the bottom rooms? Like, what should exactly I do? So yeah, I do remember, like, you know, being a little, like, I don't know, music, stereo, gaming systems, TVs, should I have more than one of some of these things, or what? I do remember, like, sitting there thinking for a while and stuff like that. There's another seating area. Obviously, like I said, I do a few of those throughout the house, like, inside and outside. Just, there's plenty of places to sit. And partially, again, that is because the whole, like, mansion, my head, has a lot of seating. And if you ever watch any of the builds that I do make big houses on, I probably will say that in every single one, because that's my mindset when it comes to big houses, is that there has to be a lot of seating. Like, that's a requirement, I feel, at this point. If you have a mansion or something, or a huge house, you must have a lot of seating. But for me, it also fits where I was leaning more towards this eventually being Glaceon's house. At this point, I don't know how she's going to necessarily afford it. But, you know, if she's able to ever actually afford this house, and this was to truly become hers, like I'm sort of planning on it, she is in a pretty sizable family. And with the fact that I've sort of ended the series, and I might do, like, little update videos and stuff by the time you're seeing this video. I've already talked about it in vlogs, and also in the actual ending of the Evie family series, that, you know, I'm sort of just, I'm letting it slide. I might do update videos every once in a while. There is at least one update video I am planning on doing. Won't go into too many details, but yeah, there is one. But, you know, the Evie family is pretty sizable, and because of certain things, like me playing through it and certain things that are happening and all that, it is growing quite rapidly, and adding on other families that also are quite a sizable family. So there needs to be a lot of space for the Evie fams to actually not only just bring the family, but also, if, you know, friends are invited, that's a whole nother thing. So technically, having a whole lot of seating and having a huge house when you're in the Evie fams is a good thing. But as for you, if you decide to download this, maybe you also have a very big family, or maybe your sim just really is really rich and just wants a really big house for themselves and wants to feel like, you know, they can invite all these people whenever, but maybe they don't because they're not as social. But they just feel like, yeah, I can if I want to, but I don't want to. But anyway, we are also obviously into the kitchen by now. The kitchen is very sizable, but there is also the little seating area in here as well. So there's no, like, separate dining room. There's just the seating area. I mean, the kitchen and the dining room is sort of the same thing. You eat in the kitchen and not in the dining room. As for me and my family life, I eat wherever. We have a dining room and we have a kitchen. I tend to not eat in either one of those. So that's my thing. But my Sims usually will eat in one or the other. They're usually pretty good about it. But yeah. the closer the table, the more likely they are to actually sit at it. But, so yeah, this is the kitchen. I will say one of the things is, as I went on in the build, I did try to pop in a few other colors here and there, and like darker blues at least, just because it started being like a whole lot of just this constant icy frosted tones, which is the main theme of the build. You know, it is, I am calling it the Frosted Mansion, but still, every once in a while I was like, maybe I need a few pop of, like, I need some plants and stuff to bring some pop of other colors here and there. So decorating it definitely allowed it to not just be completely the frosted and icy tones. So there still is, like, you know, some dash of other colors here and there, but overwhelmingly it's mostly those light frosted tones, which just makes the place feel a whole lot bigger, even though it's already big to begin with, and then you put in a whole lot of those light white type colors, and it just makes it seem also bigger. I'm pretty sure if I redid this mansion in nothing but like dark tones, it would look so much smaller on the inside. It's sort of strange how those colors actually affect the size of a room, or like the feel of the size of the room. Obviously it doesn't actually affect the size of the room, but if you take the exact same objects and just lighten them and then darken them, it makes the room like appear a whole lot different than you would expect it to be. I personally still like the darker tones. One, I don't like huge open, well, depending on the room, technically, like living rooms, and like if the kitchen has the open layout into the living room, like those things are fine having open layouts, but when it comes to like bedrooms and stuff, I like them to feel almost more compact, I guess. I like the cozy feeling of feeling like I'm tucked in and secure, if that makes any sense. But anyway, so yeah. Away from my little rambling about colors and rooms. We are now down the stairs at this point. Right now it is the vault, which now I'm seeing this, I do remember struggling with these windows to try to make the curtains actually work the way that I wanted them to here, because I had to physically move the windows and stuff. So this is like the little vault, and like I'd stated in the other one, I do know that Get Famous was very, very, like, not too long before I did the Frosted Mansion. I'm pretty sure it was the last pack that came out before, I mean, by the time when I did this build, which is a really long time ago. So I definitely did try to use some of the Get Famous things more often, so, which is why there's a vault. I don't think, other than this build and the Fame Trio Mansion, I don't think I've put a vault or used a vault anywhere else. I used it once to transfer money back and forth because it got really confusing trying to move Flareon out of the house from Evie's house, but keep the restaurant in Flareon's name and not in Evie's name. So it was like I had to move Evie out first, and then move Flareon from that to her apartment, and then move Evie back into it was. And I had to, like, keep money. That I did use the vault in that case to try to make sure the right amount of money stayed with the right person. And other than that, I haven't builds or even in gameplay, I haven't used the vault otherwise. I actually sometimes, at this point, I've almost forgot that it exists. But at the same time, I wish I used it more often, just because, you know, having a vault for your, like, rich Sims would just be fun. But anyway, so, on from my rambling about the vault. If you don't notice, I can ramble very easily. But we are now in the gym area. I imagine, like, when I was doing this, I feel like, one, if Glaceon was going to go to the gym, I feel like she wouldn't like being called sweaty and gross outside in public. So she would rather just go to her own indoor gym. Now, if I'm not playing her specifically, and she shows up at a gym, oh well. But in my head, she would not go to a gym out in the public very often, unless it was just to simply try to meet guys. But I also partially did this because I was, like, thinking that if she ever does get a significant other, that he would be the one who mainly uses the gym, but she also would have had a say in decorating the gym and making it look the way it did, hence the frosted icy theme throughout, even into the gym area. Definitely very, very, very light and in your face. I feel like I'd get blinded, honestly. If this house was real, I feel like I'd probably go in there and get blinded. And in this case, the fact that I also added mirrors probably just makes this room look even bigger. But this room, I mean, it's a pretty good size, but for gyms, you need pretty good size. But yeah, it wasn't still, like, big compared to some of the other rooms. But the mirrors and the lighting and all that probably looks real big. But this is actually the one room that is, like, still got the frosted theme, but it's very strongly going towards that archaeologist sort of theme, because this is, like, a lot of jungle adventure stuff in this room. This is supposed to be like the little archaeologist's space where he would, like, you know, bring all of his artifacts back and put them in there, and, like, I put an archaeology table in there, obviously, so, you know, he cleans off fossils and, well, I don't know if it's necessarily fossils, but artifacts and stuff like that from his travels in here as well. And I think I do actually add a little bit more. Yeah, I put the llama rug, so it's got at least some tans going on in there as well. And I think I tried to actually have some clumps of dirt at one point, but they just turned. I don't think the clumps of dirt worked out from the enable BB, what is it? Show hidden objects, I think, because the other one did not exist yet at this time. And this is the, like, little study area. Now, technically, if I remember correctly, I did not stay in the study area much. This is something I do remember from one of the first rounds of editing. Some of my footage got messed up. I do remember that, and it was mainly in the study area. Luckily, it wasn't a big section of it, but a lot of the study got cut out. I left it in there partially to show that there is a study, and so that I would remember myself, and also, just as a little note, there is screenshots at the end, and you can see it more so there, but I did have a little technical issue with the footage there, and I do remember that, but the study will be in the screenshots at the end. But we are downstairs again, because the study is upstairs, so I don't know why I'd, like, cut away from the study and then cut back, like, went upstairs. Then I don't know, sometimes I have a really weird habit and decision making on why I do some of the things I do, but I do know one of these rooms is meant to be like the butlers, or technically in The Sims it'd be a butler, like your live-in person to do all the stuff. And right across this little section is meant to be like the little laundry room, specifically put in front of the butler's room so that it's closer to their room. Obviously, they have to go get the clothes and things like that, but imagining in my head, if they were gonna fold, if I was like a butler, I would go and fold things in I could take the stuff in my room, sit on the bed, and fold them. So, you know, that was my sort of train of thought there, was that, you know, they could sit there, they can go in their room and actually fold the clothes and things like that, and have a little bit of leisure time while still working on it, and they didn't have to walk really far away after the clothes were dry, and also to move from the wash machine to the dryer. So, you know, it's a little bit close. That's a little bit of thought. They've got some of their cleaning supplies in here and, like, a little board. So yeah, this is the room for any butlers that you may have in your house. And there is, I believe, 2 other bedrooms down here, so there's 3 bedrooms down on the bottom. At the time, I just sort of designed 2 random kids' rooms. You can, obviously, if you download this for yourself, you can turn them into whatever you want. You can turn the butler's room into another kid's room if you have more than 2 kids, however you want to do it. But for me, I personally just started randomly designing it, and I will say this is the rooms that sort of stretch a little bit more from these bedrooms down here. They stretch a little bit more from the frosted theme, but to me, a bedroom is supposed to personalize that person that's in that room more so than the house as a whole. The house to me usually represents, you know, the main person who owns the house, the owner of the house, the couple, or, you know, if it's a single mom or a dad or grandma, whatever it is, you know, the main person of the house. The whole house is designed more of how they want, but the individual bedrooms, not as much. So I did do 2 random rooms. I almost want to say I did a girls and a boys room, like one that was more towards the girlish side, and one more towards boyish side. And this one was obviously more of like the girlier bedroom, and I think I was thinking of like a teenager. Oddly enough, in my case, that's actually going to fit pretty well because Glaceon ended up having a kid, and it just so happened to actually turn out to be a girl, so if she does have any other kids, the girl is going to be the oldest. But then this is for a more younger child. It's not a toddler bed, so, you know, definitely child age. More towards boy. It still has... Here, I still have more of the blues going on, because the younger kids, they do start personalizing their room just a little bit more, but not as much as, like, the teenager, because, you know, there's still some parental influence in, like, the toddlers. Especially toddlers. Toddlers, 100% parent influence. And the kids, there's still some parental influence, but you'll start to see some personality come through, and the older they get. I try to imagine in my head that there's a stage for the kids that they're like starting to become a teenager, but they're not a teenager yet, so you know, all that stuff. As they go on, they start sort of getting their own personality going on. I definitely seem to go with more of a scientist theme, which would work considering, you know, archaeology, scientists, you know, sort of not exactly the same thing, but you get what my boat, it could be implied to be somewhat closer than like what Glaceon in my head. She's more like model fashion type stuff. So definitely would be more, like, influenced by the dad if that was the case. But, obviously, if you do download this yourself, you can make changes and edit it to it as you please. Obviously, as you can tell, the screenshots are now going on. If you like this build, please hit that lovely like button, and make sure you're subscribed so that you can see future builds as well, and that little notification bell is clicked so you're notified when those said speed builds go up. If you would like to download this, house, it will be up on my gallery. My origin ID is ArtisticGamer7, and this is called the Frosted Mansion. If you ever forget what particular builds are named, you can always take a quick look in my description, and I will have it pretty far up there towards the top so that you can easily just click on a video, and instead of rewatching that video all again, just hear me say what the name of the build's called. You can easily go down there and look. If you have a hard time finding it because either for some reason it's just not showing up, or I'm a dum-dum and didn't upload it, please let me know down in the comments below, or message me over on Twitter so that I can make sure that it is up, and if it is, I can help you find it and try to send you a link actually to it. Talking of my Twitter, my social media stuff will be down in the description below to follow me if you're not already. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this build, and enjoy the rest of the screenshots. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!